What a brilliant win for Carl Froch, who knocked out George Groves in the 8th round.
Left hook to the head from George Groves. Once again they open up. An overhand right from Carl Froch on the ropes just above us, and it is all over. One single sharp right hand from Carl Froch. George Groves sent tumbling to the canvas on his left-hand side. The referee waves it off almost immediately. Carl Froch is lifted aloft. He raises both gloves. What a sensational finish to this, one of the great nights in British boxing history.
Let's get further reaction to the fight from former undisputed heavyweight champion Lennox Lewis. Hello, Lennox.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, what was your fight report, please?
I thought it was good. You could really see Froch showing the experience with his punches, and he actually, I love the way that he actually conducted himself. He went to the body. He wasn't in no rush to hit to the head. And then finally, when he threw that punch, I was remembering Hasim Rahman with that punch when he threw that. My punch was better, but his punch was great, and he went down, and it just really showed his experience. Good job.
And as a boxer, you know immediately, and he will have known that punch. He knew there was no way back for Groves as soon as he threw it.
Yeah, Groves, it's one of those situations where most of the punches that knock you out, you never see them. And that punch, you never really know the effect until it really lands in the right place. And that particular punch landed in the right place for Froch, and Groves was down.
Because when it ended then, there was really little in it. It was difficult to see who was going to win.
Yeah, it was a close matchup. It's that situation where you as the experienced fighter and you're bringing that non-experienced fighter into the deep end, and you're making him deal with certain things that pros didn't know they had to deal with. But, if you start that body work from the beginning, later on in the rounds, you're going to feel it. And then, I couldn't really understand Groves' corner telling him not to really throw that right hand. The right hand that really took him there. Sometimes it's a mistake to needle the wrong fighter, because this is the results of these type of things. And, Froch took it really serious this time. He trained. He knew that he couldn't allow what happened in the first fight to happen in the second fight. And, I knew that. That's why I said he's going to come out and he's going to look to knock him out. And he did.
And in a list of great British champions, he's up there with the very best. Do you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he really made a name for himself. And it just showed by the amount of fan support that really turned out for the fight, and we're excited about the fight.
Having had such a great career, what should he do now? If you were in his shoes, what would you be doing?
Well, I would be drinking some champagne and lying out on the beach. That's what I would be doing.
But in terms of future fights, this would be a great way to go out, wouldn't it? 80,000 people at Wembley, a fantastic knockout. It would be a great way to retire. Do you agree with that?
It would be a great way to retire. It really breaks down to Carl Froch's idea of his career and what he wants to do with it. And, it's always a difficult decision to really tell a guy that he should retire, and the question really lies with him.
But the thing is, what you wouldn't want to do is for him to have another fight and not be able to get quite up for it, to lose, and then say, well, I can't end with a defeat, so I'll come back and I'll have one more. Where you've been really sensible, Lennox, you've called it a day, people have asked you to come back and you haven't done it. And that's made great sense for you. Would you urge him to do the same?
Well, boxing is a drug in a sense that, people can't get enough of it. And if you're in the sport and you've experienced the high and the low, then you're caught. It really depends on Carl Froch's mindset, what he wants to do, how he wants the world to remember him. I think he may continue. It's such a difficult decision to really retire just like that.
Lennox Lewis, we appreciate you coming on the programme as always. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
And we can get further reaction now from former heavyweight champion Frank Bruno. Morning, Frank.
Morning, Gary. You all right?
Yeah, I'm well, thanks. You were at Wembley.
Right.
What did you think? You were at Wembley last night. What did you think?
Yeah, it was a good fight, you know. I mean, it was very, very close. I think Groves was winning the fight, nicking it here and there, but unfortunately he got caught, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you knocked out, what was it, 38 of 45 opponents. What did you think of that punch from Froch?
It was a very unbelievable punch, a bowler punch, and out of the blue, and you know, I mean, not a desperate punch, but he needed it very, very desperately to slow him down because he was getting into the groove. George Grove, and he was boxing him, and Carl Froch was trying to get him in the corner and pin him down, which he did in the end.
Yeah, and as I mentioned to Lennox Lewis, at that stage it could have gone either way, but you think Groves was just ahead, do you, at that stage, Frank?
Yeah, I think so. He was nicking it here and there. It was very, very tight. I think the crowd was booing here and there because they wanted to see more excitement, but it takes two to tango, and Groves was fighting a good fight and a sensible fight, keeping on the move and in and out there. When Carl Froch was getting into the ropes, he was covering up and moving out. But, you know, the boxing is the game, you know. Sometimes it's best not to try and get hit, but sometimes you do get hit. And when you get hit, sometimes you get up, sometimes you don't get up.
OK, Froch says he's like to go to Las Vegas. I know you know what big fights were like in Vegas, and none bigger when you boxed Tyson twice there. Yeah.
It's a big place, Vegas. That's where the golden nugget is, but I think Carl Froch is very, very frustrated. As he's more older, he gets more mature, and he wants to be up there with the big names and make some big bucks, and you can't really fault him for that. But some people, as they get older, they get retirement age, but I think Carl Froch, as he's getting more older, he's getting more confident that he wants to be a warrior, you know?
Yeah, what's your view on continuing fighting? Because as Lennox said, you know, boxing's like a drug, but Lennox made a sensible decision to call it a day, and you did exactly the same, and neither of you have been tempted back, which is very admirable.
I think, yeah, admirable, but at the end of the day, Carl Froch wants to make a big name for himself, and he wants to make some big bucks. And, you know, you can't really fault him for wanting to do that, because if he retires now, he's going to regret a lot of different things. I think yesterday was his biggest wage packet that he got, and he's frustrated. He wants to go to America, make it big there and get some big corn. So you can't really fault him for that, because at the end of the day, it's all about money, boxing.
It is. Stay on the line, if you would. I'll tell you what, I'm going to get you to say hello to somebody, because Carl Froch has just joined us on the line. Say good morning to him, Frank.
Good morning, Carl Froch. Congratulations on a good performance yesterday. Good punch.
Yeah, Frank, thank you very much. I've not seen you since we was on the Weakest Link. When you beat me as well.
Yeah, we won't talk about that one, boss, but well done yesterday.
Frank, stay on the line if you would, because I'd like you to contribute. But let's just chat to Carl. Many congratulations. It all happened. Let me work this out very quickly. It all happened about 9 and a bit hours ago. So what are you feeling 9 and a bit hours on?
I've had about 30 minutes sleep, so I'm very tired, but I feel great. I mean, that was the best moment of my whole boxing career, amateur and professional. Outdoor stadium, open air event. I mean, it's the first time I boxed outside, and to fight in such a big stadium, it reminded me of the Colosseum. I mean, I love the gladiatorial day. I love the ancient Rome, and I went to Rome last year, and I stood in the Colosseum, and I just thought this must have been amazing. And when I got there last night, and there was only 15,000 people. Have some quiet, please. It's about 15,000 here, and the noise was just immense. And I thought, wait till there's 80,000 here, and it lifted the hairs on the back of my neck, brought a smile to my face as soon as I got there, and it made me happy. And I just enjoyed the whole night. And it's only just hitting me now. I'll look back on it and then it will hit me. But for now, I'm still in a bit of a daze, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we'll line up the commentary clip and we'll play it to you in a second to get you to react. But you must have known that as soon as you threw the punch, you knew that was the end for him.
As soon as I landed the punch and about to throw it, a couple of them went over the top of his head earlier on the same punch. I was backing him up when he was ducking well. He was being slick, and I made the adjustment. But what I needed to do was close the gap. And as soon as I got my range right, I knew it's a matter of time before I land the finishing right hand. And I knew once I connected properly and relaxed and kept my feet under me and kept my centre of gravity like Rob McCracken's been working on me so hard for the last 3 months, I knew once I connect with that punch, I'll knock anybody out, especially George Groves, because he's a little bit fragile around the chin. He's a good fighter and all that, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't take a hard punch very well. So I knew once I connected, so it was just a matter about taking my time, executing the game plan. So yeah, you're right. Once I landed, I knew the fight was over.
Yeah, well, a nice description from you there. What I'd like you to do, Carl, is listen to our great commentator Mike Costello's description of what happened. Here it comes.
Left hook to the head from George Groves. Once again, they open up. An overhand right from Carl Froch on the ropes, just above us, and it is all over. One single sharp right hand from Carl Froch. George Groves sent tumbling to the canvas on his left-hand side. The referee waves it off almost immediately. Carl Froch is lifted aloft. He raises both gloves. What a sensational finish to this, one of the great nights in British boxing history.
What do you reckon to that?
You know what, Mike Costello always does a fantastic job. He's a dear friend of mine, and he sets the stage so well. But, I mean, you can hear the atmosphere there. The shot just put him out straight away. I don't think the referee bothered counting. I don't think he got to 3 because he knew Groves was unconscious. And that just sounds unbelievable. It sounds brilliant. Sometimes listening to it on Radio 5 is better than watching it.
Yeah, boxing's always. I mean, you know, boxing's always been like that. Going back to the old days when Ian Darke, Desmond Lynam did it, and Raymond Glendenning. I can even remember hearing the old commentary then, along with my guest here.
Young for that.
Yeah, well, you are. You'd like to box in Las Vegas now. Tell us why.
Because I've had such a fantastic career. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm never going to beat what I did last night. The prestige with last night, the history, and, you know, how proud I am for myself, my family and my sport for last night's event. I'll never, ever top that. But the only thing I've not done, I mean, I boxed in America a few times. The only thing I've not done is fight in the fight capital of the world, which is Las Vegas. And all my heroes before me, I won't go through the names of all the top fighters, but there's many of them, heavyweights and through the divisions. They've all boxed in Las Vegas, and it's something I've never done. So, you know, to look back on my career and to never have my name up in the lights on the Vegas Strip and never have that trip out there with my fans and my close family and friends, I think that's one thing that would get me up to remain in this sport.
Yeah, I can see the reasons for doing it. Equally, Carl, there must be also a big part of you that knows deep down it would be a great way to finish the career. 80,000 people at Wembley and a brilliant knockout punch. That would be a great way to say, that's it, wouldn't it?
You're exactly right there, 100%. I agree with you. If I bow down out of the sport, I can look back on my career and say, you know what, that was my finest hour, my finest right hand, given the fact that it was a grudge match, an all-British world title affair, a sellout stadium at Wembley. It's not going to get any bigger than that, let's be honest. It's not going to get any bigger or better than that. So if I was to retire, hang my gloves up and buy out of the sport now, I could be very, very happy man doing so.
So if you get a Vegas fight, you'll continue. If the Vegas fight wasn't possible, would you then say the Wembley show last night was your last one? Has it got to be Vegas or bust?
I wouldn't say it's Vegas or bust, but it's close to that. I mean, Eddie Hearn does magical things, and there's a couple of options, but, you know, at the minute, all I want to do is just relax with my family and have a nice summer. In terms of boxing, I don't really want to think about it too much, but last night didn't take anything out of me because I boxed behind the jab. It wasn't a tiring fight. It wasn't one of them fights where you come out of it and say, you know what, bloody hell, I've got a sore head. I've got to think about what I'm doing in my career at 36 years old. I'm 37 next month. But I'm still fit and strong. I'm still doing the training, still enjoying it. So I could have 3 or 4 more fights if I wanted them. But if I decide next week when I wake up with my little boy Rocco and my little baby girl Natalia, who's just turned 1, that I just want to spend more time with them at home and I've had enough of the game, and after I've been on holiday, you know, don't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, that's the interesting thing. Rob McCracken, your trainer, said you could box until you're 40. You're saying there could be 3 or 4 more, but equally, if you wake up next week and you're there with the family and you think, I've done it, you could actually still very much call it a day.
Exactly that, definitely. I'm not making any decisions now. I'm not going to say I've retired, then come out of retirement 6 months later for a big payday. I'm not that kind of person. I'll be straight with everybody. At the minute, I honestly don't know what I'm going to do. Yeah. I don't know what Eddie Hearn can offer me. It's going to be better and bigger than that stadium. I mean, that was almost like the pinnacle and the big end for a fantastic, glossy, unbelievable career that I've had. But I'm only 36. I'm not 46 like some fighters, and I've still got it, and I'm still enjoying it. So Who knows?
Yeah, but you wouldn't be doing it for the money, would you? You don't need that. You've got more than enough now, haven't you?
Well, that's the thing. I've never been in this sport from day one for the money. The money's a side issue, and I'd give up everything I've got material for my family and my beautiful partner and my 2 kids. I really would. I'd go and live in a mid-terrace house in the middle of anywhere and just have them and their love and surrounding me. It's not about materialistic things and money. I'm in this sport, and like I said yesterday, it's for my legacy, that fight. And that was what was so important. I don't want my boy going to school and people saying, yeah, your dad, world champ, good fighter, but what about George Groves? Last night for me was to put George Groves' saga behind me, put it to bed, and I've done that. And I feel like the weight of the world's been lifted. I've had this guy hanging off me for a year, by the way. Since I boxed Mikel Kessler back in May 2013, I've had George Groves blowing down my ear hole and irritating me and aggravating me. I boxed him once, and then after the fight, I've not heard the end of him. Right up until this fight, it's been a year. I just feel so relieved and happy and contented and elated from last night. And I'm still not sunk in what I've done, because I've not watched it back yet, and I've not seen and been able to appreciate how big an event that was.
Okay.
I'll finish. Carry on, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll just get a quick reaction from Frank Bruno, and then I want to ask you a couple more questions. Frank, what would you say on retirement and going to Vegas? I mean, you've obviously retired, you've been to Vegas, as we've mentioned. What advice would you offer Carl Froch, Frank?
It's so difficult to advise a guy like Carl Froch. He's experienced, he's old, he's not old, but he's wise, and as he's getting older, he's getting better. So it's difficult to say to him retire. He must know where he stands and what he wants to do. If he wants to go to Vegas, let him go to Vegas. He's worked very, very hard in his career, and he deserves what he wants to deserve, and he's got to make a look. Yeah, whatever he wants to do, he's the man, you know what I mean? So he could decide what he wants to do. He's in the... some fighters, as they get more older, they seem to lose it, but Carl seems to get better as he gets more older, and if he's a warrior, so how can you tell a warrior to do what he wants to do? Let him chill out. He deserves it. He's done what he had to do. He's took a lot of stick from George Grove and whatever, and he's proven himself. Let him chill out and let him, mature and do what he wants to do. You know what I mean? And he should know what he wants to do. He's a sensible, smart guy, and let him just chill out and do what he wants to do.
Frank, sensible advice. Good to talk to you, Frank. Thanks for coming on this morning.
Look after yourself. Take it easy, Carl. Enjoy, boss.
Cheers. And Carl, what will you do to relax in the next sort of couple of weeks? And I mean, it must be, having had such a fantastic high, do you literally do nothing at all?
No, I like to get out on my bike. I've got a thing with my little boy Rocco. We go by the river and we have a little cycle. I get up and do little walks with him to the park in the morning, because I've got my little boy now. He's 4 years old in June. My baby girl, she's 1. I like to get out in the morning, get up and get out. I don't like sitting around. So even if I'm not training, I'm not in the gym running and boxing and hitting the bag, I'm quite active. I'm on my feet. I'm out on my push bike with my friend, my cycling mate, or I'm out with my kids. And this time of year, we've got the spring now, the summer's coming up. I'm going to really be outside a lot. I love being in the garden. So I'll be at home a lot, around the house with the family, and just going outside in walks, parks and that, just relaxing. Nothing too strenuous.
Brilliant. Well, listen, we really appreciate you coming on this morning. Thanks very much. You said you've only had half an hour's sleep, so we'll let you get back to bed. Carl, thank you very much indeed. Very well done.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Cheers. Brilliant win from Carl Froch. I remember covering the World Amateur Championships at Belfast 2001, and you think there's a bright young prospect over there in Belfast, and he did well there. And where's that career gone? It's blink of an eye.
That was his 12th world title fight in a row. This is an amazing, historic boxing figure. I like the way in your interview where people are talking in the background, Gary, and he suddenly turned around and said, "Can I have some quiet, please?" And it went really quiet immediately. When Carl Froch tells you to shut up, you shut up.
Yeah, not even I would argue with Carl Froch in a long-distance telephone call. So
I know the BBC doesn't like to do this. Can I just add, I thought Mike Costello, I was at the fight and didn't hear it, and I listened in the car going home, and it just was superb.
It was brilliant.
Brilliant piece of commentary.
And Frank Bruno as well. I was privileged to work on the first fight with Witherspoon there, and... great nights.
The line about the vultures were circling on Carl Froch's career, and one blistering, bludgeoning right hand, and he saw them all.